Hello and welcome to the January update here at Revesby Estate Farms. So January, we will start off with the weather as normal. We've had a total of 59.4 millimetres of rain, which is around average actually for January. So hopefully the year continues like that, getting more of an average normal sort of type of rain. The majority of that fell at the beginning of January, so we've ended up having a reasonably dry run towards the end, which has allowed us to actually start getting on with some land work again. Now we've had temperature wise quite a varied range. We've had some good frost actually in January. During one period we had down to -6.7 was the lowest we've had, and the actual highest temperature we've had is 14.2, so quite a swinging ranges. And wind speed, the average wind has actually been 8 kilometers an hour, but we've had some big storms through, and the biggest gust we read here was 65 kilometers an hour. So all in all, yeah, pretty normal January. So fingers crossed it carries on like that. So the lads have been busy, like I say, getting some land work in. We've started putting some of our base fertilizers on. So a product called polysulfate contains a lot of sulfur, potash, magnesium, some calciums. Takes about 6 weeks to get available to the crop, so by putting it on now, once we get into the proper growing season when things are growing away fast, it becomes available to the crop. So that's going on, and the first little bit of nitrogen has started tickling into the rapes because the rapes are responding. The rapes are moving upwards now, they are growing. Rapes are driven, and all crops are driven by day length. It's not the temperature what drives a crop into growing, it is actually the day length. And now that the days are starting to get longer, that has driven the rape into starting its growth pattern, and it is growing. Temperatures help it then along its way, but it is day length driving it. So we'll see in this video putting some winter wheat in now behind some of our lifted sugar beet. Let's go and take a look. So we've just lifted this field with beet. Just as the frosts were coming in, so we've had some temperatures down to sort of -5, -5.5 during the evenings, and then not above freezing in the daytime. So although we've been waiting for some colder weather and some drier weather, it can then swing the wrong way and actually causes problems. So I wanted to cultivate and drill this field about 2 days ago now. Couldn't work it, tried again yesterday, and we couldn't work it. The ground had gone so hard we couldn't get our equipment in. So that's no good for us, because big solid lumps of concrete. We're wanting to drill winter wheat in here now. Never going to be able to get the seed in. There's not enough tilth. They need to be shattered down to provide us the tilth to get the soil around the seed, to get good seed to soil contact and to grow. So we've had to stand down, not doing any drilling, which is frustrating yet again. But we've come in here now. It is Saturday afternoon, given as long as I can. There's rain forecast to start coming in, and we've got the majority of the field works. We did work the majority before the frost came in, then we had frost at night and we couldn't do as planned. So it's really all or nothing today. I have actually ran up this bit behind us a couple of times to try and make a tilth. I'm just going to do one more pass over it, and then it's going to have to be what it is, and we're going to have to put the winter wheat in. So we get a lot of rain on this field now. We won't get this in by the end of January, and then we won't be able to get any more winter wheat in. So this is what we're using. There's our TT there. This is our Toronto. The discs on the top here to create a bit of tilth, and then we've got the ripping legs to rip the ground, taking some compactions out of the ground. These discs here then just level the soil back after it's been ripped by these, and then the packer. So although we've got 450 horsepower on the front, good tracks, good long footprint for pulling, combined with the tyres giving more grip, and then a weight block to hold the front end down, this is what was happening. As you can see here, these big lumps of solid ground, just frozen solid, being pulled out. You can see it all around, which is no good. You see here Here's the big lumps. I'm just going to run over these one more time to try and create as much tilth as we can. You can see the unevenness there. It was just on this headland. We'd had to leave a headland because we needed an access track. And then you can see here, this is what we did the other day. Frost is now coming out of here, so this will drill really well. So a couple more runs and then we'll get the drill on. Managed to get the bit cultivated. We've swapped over now. We've got the Sprinter drill on our back and we are actually managing to drill it in. So where it has worked prior to the frost, it's actually given us a very nice till, and the cultivator, after several times over, it has actually worked the other bit of land down. Give it a couple of hours, swap cultivators, pop the drill on, and now we're drilling winter wheat in here. So it's January, winter wheat can still go in. We're safe up until really the end of January, winter wheat. Then what winter wheat needs is so long of cold temperatures to make it actually produce an ear. When you get into February, you run the risk of not getting enough units of cold, and it won't actually go to produce an ear, it'll just be vegetative state. So yeah, it's good to get this field in and use the remainder of our winter wheat seed up. So in this field, just as we're drilling, you can see these yellow markers. There's one there, and there's one down the bottom end there. We've got like a square in here, and this is an agri wheat trial in here. You can see here wheelings. There's one just here, and then there's another one just here, and they carry on all over the field. That's because these are actually 2 metre wide plots. I think they're 2 metres by 10 metre plots in here. And what we're going to be looking at there, or Agri's going to be looking at there, is just like we're doing now, drilling wheat in January. This is what they call their alternative wheat trial. This is just looking at what varieties of wheat perform well in this late drill position. So if we find ourselves like this again next year, we'll know what varieties are best to put in the ground to get the best performance. And we can monitor the disease pressures on wheats. What are drilled now is a lot less than wheats what are drilled in sort of the October period. So it'll also show us which wheats don't really need a lot of crop protection in the form of fungicide on them. So yeah, we'll get on and we'll get this field drilled. So we don't normally cultivate, but obviously behind sugar beet, the harvesters do quite a bit of damage, and the trailers, so it's just easier to tickle the soil over, take that compaction out, and then we'll set back in with these fields back into our normal regime. But actually, after all the rain we've had during October, November and December, these are some of the best drilling conditions we've actually had. Now the frost has gone, it's dried a little bit, what we had right since the beginning of October. So hopefully, fingers crossed, the weather has turned a corner and we can stop talking about the weather every time in these updates. So that was the remainder of our winter wheat going in. Last field of winter wheat in, we'll now switch on to the spring crops. Spring barley, spring beans, spring oats to go in. We've also got some marrowfat peas and some canary grass seeds. So quite a lot of stuff still to happen, but we're in no rush to put those in, because even though we've had this dry spell in January, we can run the risk of putting things in the ground too early, it coming cold again and slowing them up. In the spring, you want things in the ground, out in the ground and growing away. So another thing we've been getting on with, which we do during the winter months, is cleaning our drainage ditches out. So where I'm stood now, this is our lowest point. We are at, in some places here, at sea level. If I go down into the ditch, we're actually below sea level. So it's very important to keep water moving here. A lot of this water drains into drainage board ditches, which is then pumped to move it away. So what we do here is we will clean these ditches. I'll just swing the camera around. So here you can see, if we look up this bank here, you can see the reeds on one side, and then the other side of the bank there, the soil is because this ditch has been bottomed out, it's been cleaned out to allow this water then to be able to flow and move into the drainage board ditches so it can be pumped away. This is just keeping the water moving off the land. You can see there we've piled the spoil up. We can't put it on this section just here, because this is our stewardship margin, this is our grass margin left for wildlife, so we put it at the edge. It's actually on part of our field, so we give up part of our arable field to put all that spoil on. We'll leave that there until the summer, and then we'll spread it out onto the land and just work it into it. You can see here, by just cleaning one side of the ditch out, we're leaving all the wildlife free on the other side, and then this will quickly green up back where we've moved here. But sort of a 1 in 7 years we'll be round these ditches. As you can see up here, we've done the same thing on this side of the bank. And then just here, look, is one of our drainage pipes coming out of this field, just slowly trickling away here. This is draining water out of this field into the drainage ditch. Now if we didn't clean it out, the silt, the soil could raise above the outlet, blocking it, meaning the water stays on the field. And equally, it holds the water in the ditches, not allowing it to flow, so you don't get the natural pull of the water out to the land. So it's a very important job we do. Like I say, sort of a 1 in 7 rotation. We'll be around the whole farm, cleaning the ditches out like this. And then here we go, here's the spoil, what has come out of that ditch just here. Just leave it to dry out, and then in the summer spread it onto the land and work it back in. So yeah, very important task to keep water moving, especially extremes. Seeing over 200 mil of water extra last year. We've got to get this water away from the land to allow us to keep producing food on these lands here. So that's basically it for January, February. Fingers crossed for still the weather plays normal, and we will hopefully start getting stuck into a lot more spring work. I'll try and bring you Zach and Adrian getting on with fertilizers going on and drilling. So yeah, hope you found that informative, and we will see you next month.